Hey y'all, this is Mrs. Phipps. It is Sunday evening, and I told you I'd give you a bit of video on how to do the graphing. You're going to do this method over and over again. These are the basic steps on the left. So first off, let's talk about the first step, which is large enough to read. Okay. So we're talking about large enough to read. We're not talking about half a sheet. I want these to be full sheet. You're going to take your notebook and either turn it horizontally, or you take your piece of paper, you're going to turn it horizontal, and you're going to fill it up. The reason why we do this is that it will give you, the more magnified your graph is, the easier it is to see a trend. So make it large enough to read. I've kind of pre-drawn mine out. I am saying, different people have different things on this, depends on your data, but I'm saying for most of the stuff we're going to do, we're going to start at 0, 0. Now next up is our axes, our unit, and our numbering. So this right here is the data that I'm going to use. It is a mass versus time. Now you're going to have to remember, you've got three sets. You've got a mass in time, you've got a length in time, you've got an angle in time, maybe one other. So we always do this very similar, same methods. Now I know we tend to be concerned about independent and dependent. It's a little bit easier. I'm not going to go too hard into that part. For most of what we're doing, our x-axis, if we've got time, that goes on your x-axis. Okay, always put your variable and your unit. You can do that on both sides. Always got to include the unit as well so that people know what we're working with. Once you have that, you can also do your title. Titles on physics graphs are super simple. They're always your y-axis versus your x-axis. Okay, so that's your setup. That gives us the axis, the units. The other thing we need is that numbering. So this is just instinctual. It becomes a bit of a habit over time. But until you get a handle for it, the easiest way to figure out the increments for your axis is kind of like this. You take your biggest number, and you divide it by the number of, hang on, I want to move that. Okay. All right, so we're going to take our biggest number, and make it bigger in a second, and we are going to divide by the number of squares. Okay. Once you have that, you take your answer, and whatever your answer is, you're going to round that up. Okay, let's make this a bit bigger so we can see what we're talking about. Okay. All right, thank you for waiting while I hit buttons. Okay, so in this case, the number of squares I have on my x-axis are 30, and my biggest number is right here. That's 500. So I'm going to take 500 divided by 30. If you can do this in your head, you're so much cooler than I am. I'm using my phone. So we've got equals 16.7. So the roundup part is I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it up to my next easy number. Next easy numbers are going to be 5, 10, 20, numbers like that. If you're close to like a 25 or whatever, you can do so 25, 50, whatever. It's an easy number, something that you can kind of look at and get what's happening. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to round it up to 20. All right. Now on the other side, so that means my x increment is going to be 20 grams per, try this way. We've got 20 grams. I'm sorry, it's not y, isn't it? I apologize. I'm sideways here. So our y-axis, $20 grams is equal to 1 square. Now let's go ahead and we're going to do our y, our x. We're going to do the other side now. Clear up a bit. And over here, my biggest value is this 0.95. So now the 0.95 goes on top. We're going to divide that by 40. So 0.95 divided by 40 is 0.024. And so we're going to round that up. It becomes, I'm going to take that up to 0.025, just kind of what I was saying earlier. So on this x-axis then, we're going to say 0.025 seconds is equal to 1 square. So I'm going to zoom in just a bit so you can see how the numbering is going to go. That's a slightly Captain Obvious, but we're going to do it. So if I'm going to get started with this, I'm going to start each square, is going to be, so it's 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. And if you don't like, if you have cruddy handwriting, or if you don't have less space or something like that, you can see you've got a pattern. Every 5 squares is 100. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's our 200. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 300. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 400. I'm going to take this off, zoom in a bit. And then we're going to take our last bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 20, 40, 60, 80. There's our 500. Do the same thing on my x-axis. Okay, we'll see how well this works out. We've got, so this is 0.025, 0.05 every time going up, 0.075. This is 0.1. So you can see that in this case, every 4 squares we're going up by 0.1. So 0.125, 0.15, 0.175, 0.2. So every 4 squares I can go up by 1, 0.1. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0.3, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm hoping that as I'm doing this, you are doing your own graph as well. Okay. So that we'll have all of this kind of together. Just keep going all the way up. 0.9, and that would make this one right here 0.95. Okay, so now we have gone through, we have set up our graph, we've set up our numbering, and we are now ready to plot our visible data points. Okay. All right. See how this is going to go. Something in there I don't want to have. Give me a sec. All right. So our first one, and I'm going to have to draw some guidelines because it's kind of hard for me to get down to the very tiny points. So my first one is 100. Okay. And point, whoops. There's 100. Muscle minerals, here's my 0.9. Okay. You can go in there. I'm just doing this so I can see my points more than anything else. You have a slightly different set that you're looking at as your screen. So I'm just going to go and I'm going to put a bunch of these in here. Not what I wanted. Okay, now that I can see it, I'm just going to get rid of that line. So there's our 100.9. I'm going to zoom out. What else we got? You don't have to draw these guidelines. I'm doing it just because of what I'm using. So then we got 200.95. Okay, now I'm looking at here, and this is what I've got. And oh, I can get rid of this line. I can get rid of this line. So there's my data, and it looks kind of weird because, well, first off, I'm definitely not going to connect the dots on this, because if I connect the dots on this, I don't even know what the heck we're going to get. We're like, doesn't make any sense. But we do need something to make sense here. So this is where we start thinking about it. So first off, don't connect the dots. The next thing is to draw a best fit line or a best curve. Well, here's the thing. The lines that I am seeing so I'm going to stop y'all right here. This is what I want for class on Tuesday. So I want your 3 graphs. I want you all the way through step 5, okay? I don't know what happened there. All right, all the way through step 5, and you're going to go no further. Do not do, we're having a hard time here with the last steps. Here we go. Oh, I know, I draw a line out of that. Do not do this part yet. We're going to do that part in class because we need to talk about what these lines means, what the data means. Right now, I want you to think about what do you think it means that we have this set of data right here, and we have kind of this set of data right here. So we'll talk on Tuesday. All right. Thank you very much, guys. You take care. Don't forget the reading chapter 2.1, 2, and 3.